Namaste students, I hope you all are well. So today we will start with the new topic, that is transcription in eukaryotes. So in the previous lecture we discussed about the transcription in prokaryotes. Okay, so when we will do or start the transcription in eukaryotes, then you will come to know the differences in between both the organisms, means in the prokaryotes as well as in case of the eukaryotes. The basic function that is same, means for the production of the mRNA in both the cases. But how this mRNA it is produced in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, what are the factors and how the process it is different, let's discuss in detail. So first I will make the structural gene here. Okay, all of you know what is structural gene. It is also known as the transcription unit. It is also known as transcriptional unit. And there are two strands, one that is having the polarity from 3' to 5' end, and the another one having 5' to 3' end. And this strand which is having the polarity from the 3' to 5' end, it is known as the template strand. It is known as template strand, and this is known as the coding strand. Okay, one is having the template strand and the another one is having the coding strand. And over the structural gene, what is present? Promoter and the terminator sequences that are present. Promoter and the terminator sequences that are present. So in case of the eukaryotes, what happened that when the RNA polymerase, it will bind. So along with the RNA polymerase, so many transcription factors are there. These are the transcription factors. So RNA polymerase and plus transcription factors. So RNA polymerase plus transcription factors, they will add here over the promoter region, and then the transcription it starts. Then the transcription it starts and it will form the transcription initiation complex. Okay, so when this RNA polymerase plus the transcription factors, they will move over this DNA helix. When they will move over this DNA helix, then what will happen? These two strands, they will get separate. These two strands, they will get uncoiled. Okay, and when they will get uncoiled, then what will happen? The bases that are present over the DNA helix, they will get exposed. So these are the bases. These bases, it will get exposed, and when the bases that will get exposed, then what happen? Like suppose here over the DNA helix, what is present? A, T, G, C, and then you can say like G, T, A. Okay, so as the RNA polymerase, it will move over the DNA helix, then the bases it will get exposed, and then the NTPs means the nucleotide triphosphates. They will add on this DNA helix on the basis of the complementary base pairing. Okay, so it will synthesize from the 5' end to the 3' end, because the template strand it is having the polarity 3' end to the 5' end. This is DNA template strand, DNA template strand having the polarity from 3' end to the 5' end, and this is the RNA chain which synthesize from, it is the RNA chain which synthesize from the 5 prime to the 3 prime end. So having the bases like A, it will base pair with U because this is the RNA chain, T with A, G with C, C with G, G with C, T with A, and A with U. So in this manner the NTPs that will join on the basis of the complementary base pairing which is present over the DNA helix, and only one strand, means the template strand, it will form the complementary base pairing with the RNA, means only the one RNA it will transcribe from the DNA helix. Okay, why? Because both the DNA strands, if suppose both the DNA strands they will form the RNA, then both the RNAs they are having the complementary base pairing, so they will coil with each other forming the double stranded RNA, as I told you in the previous lectures. So as the RNA it will synthesize, then this RNA polymerase, when it will reach the terminator region, means when it will reach the terminator region, then what happen, the terminator sequences that are present. Okay, so when the terminator sequences that are present, like here the terminator sequences that are present, and if suppose the RNA polymerase it will reach there, then automatically this RNA it will separate from the DNA chain and it will get released from the DNA helix. And as the RNA polymerase it will move over the DNA helix, then the DNA strand which is present just behind the RNA polymerase, they will again coiled. Okay, so in this manner the RNA it will form in case of the eukaryotes. And one more thing, that in case of the eukaryotes there are 3 RNA polymerases which are responsible for the different types of the RNA synthesis. Like in case of the prokaryotes, only one RNA polymerase it is responsible for the formation of all the RNAs, but in case of the eukaryotes there are 3 RNA polymerases which are responsible for the synthesis of the different RNAs. Now next we will discuss about the terminator sequence, that as in case of the prokaryotes there is rho factor which is responsible for the terminator, but in case of the eukaryotes there is not any rho factor which is responsible for the termination, and the transcription and translation it occurs separately, because the transcription it occurs in the nucleus, and then this RNA it will come in the cytoplasm region, and in the cytoplasm then what happened, translation occur. Okay, so transcription in eukaryotes it occurs in the nucleus region and translation it occurs in the cytoplasm region. Now next we will discuss about the 3 types of the RNA polymerases. So there are 3 types of the RNA polymerases. RNA polymerase first, RNA polymerase second, RNA polymerases third. Okay, and these 3 types of the RNA polymerase they are responsible for the formation of the different types of the RNAs. RNA polymerase first, it is responsible for the synthesis of the rRNAs, and RNA polymerase second, it is responsible for the synthesis of hnRNA, that is the heterogeneous RNA. Okay, and it is also known as the precursor of mRNA. It is also known as precursor of the mRNA. Next is RNA polymerase third. It is responsible for the synthesis of tRNA, 5S, rRNA and snRNA, that is small nuclear RNAs. And these small nuclear RNAs, they have a role in the modification of the hnRNA, in the modification of hnRNA, it has role. And this 5S RNA, it is responsible for the formation of the ribosomes. It has a role in the formation of ribosomes. And tRNA, as all of you know, this is the transfer RNA. Okay. So now next we will discuss about the post-transcriptional modification. Now what is post-transcriptional modification? Post-transcriptional modification, it occurs in case of the eukaryotes. Okay, because in the prokaryotes the mature mRNA it forms, and as the movement the transcription over, then the translation it started. Okay, but in case of the eukaryotes, what happened, that first the transcription it occurs in the nucleus, and that RNA which form, that is hnRNA in case of the mRNA, which is the precursor of the mRNA, and from the means as the mRNA it forms, as the mRNA it forms from the hnRNA. So this is known as the post-transcriptional modification. This is known as post-transcriptional modification. Why it is known as post-transcriptional modification? Post means after the transcription, the modification which occurs in the hnRNA. So what is the modification which occurs in the hnRNA, and then it will convert it into the mature mRNA. Okay, so there are three processes. First, that is capping. First is capping, then is tailing, and third, that is splicing. First is capping, tailing, and then splicing, and then the hnRNA means, which is known as the precursor of the mRNA, then it will modify to form the mature mRNA. So let's discuss this in detail. So, like this is the structure of the hnRNA. This hnRNA, it is having the exons as well as the introns sequences. Okay, means like these are the exons. These are the exons and some intron sequences that are also present. Like these are the introns. And this is the 5' end, and this is the 3' end. So this is the hnRNA. Okay, means having both the sequences, the introns and the exons, and 5' end and the 3' end it is present. So now what will happen? First of all, the capping it will occur, and then tailing will be there, and then splicing will be there. Now what is capping? Capping means the addition of the methylated guanine triphosphate. Okay, what is this? methylated guanine triphosphate. Okay, it means the nucleotide having the guanine as a base. Okay, nucleotide having the guanine as a base and three phosphate groups that are present. So this guanine, it is having the methyl group. So now this is known as methylated guanine triphosphate. Okay, so this will be added at the 5 prime end. This will be added at the 5 prime end, and this is responsible for the protection of the 5 prime end from the hydrolytic enzymes, and it will also provide the attachment point with the ribosomes during the translation process. So now next is tailing. Tailing, it will occur at the 3 prime end. So poly A tail, okay, means the polyadenylate residues, they will add here at the 3 prime end, and around 200 to 300 nucleotide base pairs they will add here. 200 to 300 adenine residues they will add at the 3 prime end, and this is known as the tailing process. This is known as tailing, and this is known as the capping, okay, which occurs at the 5 prime end, and tailing, it occurs at the 3 prime end. But still here some exons and introns that are present. Now exons, that are the coding regions, they represent the coding regions. Exons, they represent the coding regions, and the introns, they represent the non-coding regions. So these non-coding regions, it should be removed from the hnRNA, and then only it will form the mature mRNA. So when these introns that are removed, I am showing here the exons and the introns also. These are the introns. So now the next process, that is the splicing. This is known as splicing when the introns that are removed. So when the introns that are removed, then what will happen? Only the exons they will remain. Only the exons they will remain there. Like this. These are the exons, means the coding sequences only remain there, and all the introns that were present, that will be removed from the mRNA. So now here 3 prime adenylate residues that are present, and it is known as the tail region, it is known as the cap region, and the removal of the introns, that is splicing, and the whole RNA, it is considered as the mature mRNA. So in this manner the mature mRNA it forms, and these are the post transcriptional modifications which occur in the hRNA to form the mature mRNA. Students, now in this diagram you can see that at the 5 prime end methylated guanine cap that is present, and at the 3 prime end polyadenylate tail, means the A residues, adenine residues that are present, and having the intron sequence also. So it is known as the pre-mRNA transcript, or you can also say HNMRNA. HNMRNA. Okay, so after splicing, what is splicing here? That the introns that are removed. So when the introns, means the non-coding regions that are removed, and exons, that are the coding sequences. So when the introns, means the non-coding regions that are removed from the pre-mRNA transcript, then it will convert it into the mature mRNA. Okay, and the mature mRNA having the capping at 5 prime end, at the 3 prime end tailing, and having only the exons, means the coding region. So students, till now we discussed about the transcription in prokaryotes and transcription in eukaryotes. Now let's discuss the differences in both the organisms, means both type of organisms, prokaryotes and eukaryotes, related with transcription process. So now students, we will discuss some differences between the prokaryotic transcription and the eukaryotic transcription. So the definition that is almost same in the transcription in case of the eukaryotes and the prokaryotes, that they are responsible for the formation of the mRNA and then protein. Now next is related to the location. In case of the prokaryotes, the transcription it occurs in the cytoplasm, and in case of the eukaryotes it occurs in the nucleus region. And like the process, the transcription in case of the prokaryotic, it is more means it is less complicated as compared to the eukaryotic transcription. In case of eukaryotes it is more complicated. Next is that, as we discussed during the process, that in case of the prokaryotes, the transcription and translation it occurs simultaneously, means as the transcription it is occurring, then at the same time from the same mRNA the translation also started. But in case of the eukaryotes, first transcription occur, then mRNA it forms, and then modification will be there, and then only the translation will be there. So now next difference is related to the RNA polymerase. So in case of the prokaryotes, only one kind of the RNA polymerase it is required, but in case of the eukaryotes, around three types of RNA polymerase that are required. That is first, second, and third. So the next difference that is related with the promoters, that in case of the prokaryotes, the promoters that are having the less variation, but in case of the eukaryotes, the promoters they have more variations as compared to the prokaryotes. Rho factor it is not required in the eukaryotes, but it is required in case of the prokaryotes for the termination process. And in case of the prokaryotes, the mRNA it produced, that is the polycistronic, and in case of the eukaryotes it is monocistronic. Okay. And next is post transcriptional modification. So in case of the prokaryotes there is not any modification as the mRNA transcript it forms, but in case of the eukaryotes the modification, means the post transcriptional modifications are there, that are capping, tailing, and the splicing. Next, transcriptional factors that are, in case of the eukaryotes, there are transcriptional factors that are required, various proteins that will attach to the promoter region with the RNA polymerase for the initiation process. But in case of the prokaryotes, the sigma factor it will bind to the promoter region for the initiation of the process, for the initiation of the transcription process.